Explosions shatter the Caribbean sky. US warships unleash a barrage of missiles, turning Venezuela's coast into an inferno. But Maduro's hidden defenses strike back with deadly precision. Welcome to the chaos of a hypothetical US-Venezuela war, days 2 through 5. Buckle up, because this is going to be wild. Hey everyone, welcome back to War Simulations HQ. If you missed our last video on day 1 of this explosive hypothetical conflict, hit that subscribe button and catch up. Today, we're diving deep into days 2 through 5 of what could be the most intense showdown in the Americas since Panama in 1989. We're basing this on real military capabilities from 2025, US superiority in tech and numbers versus Venezuela's Russian-supplied defenses and guerrilla grit. Think global firepower rankings. The US has over 13,000 aircraft, while Venezuela scrapes by with a few dozen operable jets. But Maduro's forces aren't pushovers. They've got S-300 VM missiles that can swat planes from 124 miles away, book systems for mid-range punch, and a militia swelling to millions ready for asymmetric hell. This isn't just a stomp, it's a strategic thriller with twists, turns, and international drama. Let's break it down day by day. Day 2. The skies erupt in aerial Armageddon. Following Day 1's initial naval skirmishes and cyber probes, the US kicks off Phase 1 of any modern invasion, air supremacy. From the USS Gerald R. Ford Carrier Strike Group lurking in the Caribbean under Operation Southern Spear, F-35 Lightning II stealth fighters scream into Venezuelan airspace at Mach 1.5. Their mission? Neutralize the crown jewel of Maduro's defenses, those Russian S-300 VM, anti-2500 systems stationed at Capitan Manuel Rios Air Base in Guaricó. These bad boys are mobile-tracked launchers, capable of tracking 200 targets and firing hypersonic missiles that hit re-entry speeds of 2.8 miles per second. Venezuela's got about a dozen batteries, forming an outer ring around Caracas and key oil fields. But the US isn't messing around. Electronic warfare jets like the EA-18G Growler jam radar signals, blinding the S-300s while Tomahawk cruise missiles, over 500 launched from Arleigh Burke-class destroyers, snaking low at 550 miles per hour, evading detection. Boom! Satellite imagery would show craters where command centers once stood. US B-2 Spirits, those flying wing stealth bombers, drop precision JDAMs on Su-30 Mk2 fighter hangars, wiping out Venezuela's 20 or so multi-role jets before they can scramble. Casualties, minimal on the US side, but Venezuelan Air Force personnel scatter amid the flames. Maduro fights back dirty, asymmetric style. Hidden Bucum, 2E medium-range SAMs on 6x6 trucks pop up in urban areas. Shoot and scoot tactics, catching a few US drones off guard. Igla-S manpads, shoulder-fired missiles with a 3.7-mile range, down low-flying helicopters attempting recon over Maracaibo's oil refineries. And cyber ops. Venezuelan hackers, possibly with Iranian help, disrupt US satellite comms temporarily, forcing pilots to rely on onboard systems. By nightfall, blackouts grip Caracas as US cyber strikes, think Stuxnet 2.0, cripple power grids. Refugees stream toward Colombia, international tensions spike as Russia condemns the imperialist aggression. The US claims air dominance, but at what cost? Over 200 Venezuelan soldiers down, and the world's watching. China threatens economic retaliation. Fascinating, but it's just getting started. Day 3. Naval nightmare in the tropics. With air cover secured, the US enforces an ironclad blockade, straight out of historical playbooks like the Cuban Missile Crisis, but amped up. American Virginia-class nuclear subs, silent hunters with Mark 48 torpedoes, prowl the Orinoco Delta, sinking Venezuelan supply ships laden with Iranian fuel. The Venezuelan Navy? Outmatched. Their 2 German Type 209 submarines might launch a desperate torpedo volley, but US anti-sub warfare helos from destroyers like the USS Arleigh Burke detect and destroy them with depth charges. Frigates clash in high seas duels. Venezuela's Mariscal Sucre-class vessels fire anti-ship missiles. but US Aegis systems intercept them mid-flight with SM-6 missiles traveling at Mach 3.5. On the beaches, elite US Navy SEAL teams, inserted via MH-60 helicopters under the cover of darkness, raid coastal installations near Puerto Cabello. Picture this: night vision goggles glowing, suppressed rifles popping as they sabotage radar stations and seize key ports. Venezuelan Marines counter with ambushes, using dense jungles for cover. Echoes of Vietnam, but in the tropics. Maduro mobilizes his Bolivarian militia, that 200,000-strong and growing civilian force, armed with AK-103s from Russia. They plant IEDs along highways, turning supply routes into death traps. By day's end, oil exports halt. Venezuela's economy bleeds, prices spike globally. The UN calls emergency sessions. Brazil and Colombia beef up borders to stem refugees. Chaotic? Absolutely. Imagine the headlines. Submarine showdown. US sinks Maduro's fleet. But accuracy check. Experts from Stratfor say this phase would be quick. US losses low, but guerrilla resistance ramps up. Day 4. Boots on the ground. Assault ignites. Now it gets gritty. US Marines from the 2nd Marine Expeditionary Force launch amphibious landings at Puerto Cabello, the gateway to Caracas. Hovercraft like El Cax disgorge M1 Abrams tanks and AAV-7 amphibious vehicles onto beaches under artillery, cover from offshore cruisers. Venezuelan infantry, about 63,000 strong, dig in with T-72B1 tanks, Russian beasts with reactive armor, but US Apache helicopters shred them with Hellfire missiles. Urban warfare explodes in the streets. House-to-house fighting where Maduro loyalists use guerrilla tactics, blending with civilians for hit-and-run attacks. Remember those 4.5 million militia members Maduro's arming? They swarm like ants, using Cornet anti-tank missiles to ambush armored columns in the mountains. It's asymmetric warfare 101. Prolong the fight, make it costly. US forces push inland, securing oil fields in the Orinoco belt with drone swarms providing overwatch. But surprises lurk. Panzer S one-point defense systems down a few FA-18 Super Hornets, forcing evasive maneuvers. International wildcard, Russia deploys advisors, echoing Syria, while China hacks US supply chains. Casualties mount, US reports 50 killed in action, Venezuela thousands. The world holds its breath as protests erupt in Miami and Bogota. This day's a nail-biter. Would the US commit to full occupation, knowing historical quagmires like Iraq? Day 5. Escalation to the brink. The conflict teeters on global war. US hypersonic missiles, like the AGM-183 ARRW, streak from Florida bases, targeting underground bunkers where Maduro hides. Satellite recon reveals massive Venezuelan troop movements, but US cyber ops hack communications, exposing plans for counterstrikes. Venezuela's Pechora 2M systems fire desperately at incoming waves, but overload. Diplomacy frenzy at the UN. Pleas for ceasefires as nuclear shadows loom, though unlikely, given no nukes in Venezuela. US objectives. Regime change, per historical patterns like Grenada in 1983 or Panama in 1989. But experts warn, a ground invasion would be slow and costly, per the National Security Journal, with militias turning it into a people's war. By evening, US controls key nodes, but resistance pockets flare. The brink? A false flag or miscalculation could drag in great powers. What a roller coaster! This hypothetical US-Venezuela war highlights raw power versus resilient defense. It is a sobering reminder of real geopolitics. Based on 2025 capabilities, US wins conventionally, but asymmetry drags it out. What do you think? Could Maduro hold out longer? Drop your takes in the comments, like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more simulations. Stay informed, stay safe, peace out.